Take the Leap is the podcast where we get real about the roller coaster that is entrepreneurship and life. Sure, some folks make running a business look like a walk in the park, but let's be honest, it's more like a wild ride through a theme park with a lot of unexpected twists and turns.
Join us, your co-hosts, Ashlan
and Tory,
as we spill the beans on our own real-life experiences and shine a spotlight on some amazing guests. From the highs of success stories to the lows of epic failures. And hey, we'll even throw in some cringe-worthy, laugh-out-loud, embarrassing moments for good measure.
So buckle up and tune in every Tuesday and Thursday for a dose of raw, unfiltered truth about what it's really like to chase your dreams and build a business.
Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just dipping your toes into the startup world, we've got something for everyone. Even if it's just to make you think, wow, I'm glad I didn't do what they did.
Hello and welcome back to Take the Leap. We're so excited to be chatting in your ears today, this morning, this afternoon, whenever it is that you are listening to us. I'm Tory, and this is my friend.
Hi, I'm Ashlan.
And we're excited today because we're going to talk about something important, and that is celebrating your wins, especially in business. When you own your own business, you're working for yourself. Ashlan, it's so important to celebrate your wins. And as we're talking about this, I'm just going to be completely honest and real. The whole reason why we're doing this episode is because I'm so bad at this. I'm so bad at remembering to like celebrate the little things. And I think just in life in general, like it's so important to do because especially if you're a solopreneur working by yourself all the time, it's so easy to get like bogged down in all of the things you have to do every single day and all the tasks that have to get done. And I feel like as a business owner, I go from one hurdle to the next and I'll accomplish this really big thing. But instead of sitting down and actually celebrating it, I'm like, okay, on to the next goal. Let's keep going. And that can be really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think that we spend so much time like chasing the next thing or getting the next contract, getting the next deal. We wrapped up this project. What's coming next? That, yeah, settling down, settling in and thinking about like, oh, okay, we did something really awesome. I am equally guilty of this. I have a long list of case studies I would like to write someday, even content that's come from clients to help with those. And I think, you get caught up in there's something else that's a more burning issue that you need to attend to as well.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Well, then I guess let's just kick it off by celebrating some of our wins personally. So for me, the first thing I want to celebrate, should we do, I wish we had like a drum roll or something.
Right.
Or like exactly. Like a little build up. So I think the first thing I would like to celebrate while we're on the call today is that we are almost halfway through the year. And so far, I am on track to meet my financial goals in my business this year.
Yay!
Well, and it's definitely, I don't know the percentage. I did not look before this call, but it's definitely an increase from the amount of money I made this time last year. And so that's been really encouraging. I've landed some really great contracts this year, and I should be celebrating those things more often. I, like we just said, a contract finishes up or we land a new one and then we're kind of like on to the next thing. And it's true because in my head, I'm thinking, okay, where's that next paycheck coming from? Where am I getting that next piece of revenue? But the truth is that it always comes, right? The work always comes. I always figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of, obviously there's an amount of strategy and planning that you need to do as a business owner, but I also feel like there's a bit of faith that we need to hold on to and let happen. Faith in ourselves and our abilities to get that next client afterwards, to land a contract that's, you know, going to work for us. And I think also just having faith that the universe or, you know, whatever you believe in is going to meet you there if you put it out
Mhm.
there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know that.
So
Yeah. Every once in a while, I mean, I don't know if it's in like speaking to other people or thinking through it of like, shit, I'm really, like I'm really doing this. Like this is a thing. Like I haven't had to stop doing this to go take on, a full-time job anywhere. Haven't had to make any, significant changes in this way. And yeah, it does. It is a little wild to think. I mean, you and I have only been doing this for like less than 5 years. And so to meet
I
that,
know.
level
Wild.
of revenue and be able to support ourselves and to do this project together, I think is just super exciting. And I guess another thing that I would love to celebrate is that we are getting more and more people who are interested in being guests coming in,
Yes.
from other places. And, we already kind of celebrated this in a previous episode, but just hearing positive feedback from people that they're enjoying the podcast and feeling very I guess inspired by what we're talking about has been super exciting. I guess one of my wins that I'm celebrating is I recently, not too recently, a little while ago, got back from a trip to Chicago where I went on behalf of the American Marketing Association, which you may have heard about. That's where Tori and I initially met each other. But it was just really fun to be there. And I felt like a little bit, it's kind of weird to say, I felt like a little bit of a little mini celebrity while I was there because there would be people like coming up to you and being like, oh, hey, so and so. And then, the pink hair just gives me away
Yeah.
every single time.
I
But,
love it.
to be interacting with these other chapters and to like have them like really look up to you or like the accomplishments that you had. And I put a very detailed LinkedIn post up about it afterwards, like just in reflection of like having been involved with the AMA for almost 10 years and like giving back to the community, but also being able to impact so many of these different leaders' lives. This is oftentimes like the first time that they are leading people. They might not have jobs in their their day job might not allow them to lead a team or, do certain types of work. Like I know that was one reason that I was really drawn to volunteering because I wasn't getting opportunities like this in my day job. And so I was just like, cool, I'm going to go create my own thing over here and build my own path. So it was just very, really inspiring. And there were a number of chapter leaders that I met that are like rebuilding their chapters. There hadn't been a president, there hadn't been programming, there hadn't been some of these different things. And just to see them get so invigorated by being in this group of people. And then I was also super, super inspired to see, I felt like it was more than in previous year, but a lot of young leaders of color, or just people of color in general, being at this event. And it was co-chaired by two
Awesome.
Black women, which was so like inspiring and great and so lovely to have that experience. And then, yeah, also to be among, a group of people who care very passionately about this. And in many ways, if you are the kind of person who volunteers for nonprofits and does a lot of free labor and work, you kind of are drinking the Kool-Aid of whatever you're doing. But, being in that group and being like, oh, okay, yeah, we are all working towards something bigger and better and greater than us was just very a huge win to celebrate, and just feels like such a great space to be in, and also to be what is it called, like all, when you've got everybody swimming in the same direction and trying to go towards the same goals, and that sort of thing has been just very cool to be a part of that, be a part of something bigger and greater.
That's so exciting. And I feel like that's just why a lot of us do it, right?
Yeah.
Want to be part of something bigger and want to make a difference.
Yeah.
Well, Ashlan, why do you think Why do you think it's important for us to celebrate our wins as business owners? I mean, like one thing that comes to mind for me is, we don't have the culture that you would get for the most part in a business working for someone else. We don't have that office talk. I mean, it depends on, the kind of entrepreneur you are, but a lot of us work from home. A lot of us work on remote teams and work for multiple different clients, right? So one thing that is nice about office culture, especially when it's not a toxic environment and it's a positive and supportive one, is that you have people there who can help out, who pat you on the back, who like, you did a really good job, or that was such a good idea you came up with in that meeting. And there's just something about having that camaraderie, but then also just, what am I trying to say, just the knowing that what you're doing, like, you have that validation that you're helping people or that you're making a difference in the company. Whereas when you're doing it by yourself, so often of the time your head is just, you just keep your head down the whole time and focus, and you're on to the next thing. And I feel like, yeah, just, I think celebrating is just so important. Like, what do you think? What are some other reasons why you think it's important for us to keep celebrating wins?
Honestly, I feel like when you get into those like imposter syndrome moments where you're just like, I can't do this anymore, like we've done really hard things by becoming business owners and entrepreneurs. Like it also proves to you like you can do really tough and difficult things. And I know for me, like selfishly, part of the reason, like, I like to like keep track of things, keep notes, keep like, I have this remarkable tablet that I know, Tori, you have one too, but like, keeping track of like my schedule and the things that I do. And, I think it's helpful to give yourself like a vision of where your time and energy is going. But honestly, like selfishly, I'm like, someday all of that could be turned into a book, or, you need also that like reflection time. And I think reflection time is super important, especially if you're going through something super tough. Like, so not only like about celebrating the wins, but like if there was, a client that you lost that you're like, oh God, what happened? Like what happened? What went wrong? Like giving yourself that reflection and that feedback time, I think is super important. And I've been really bad at doing it. I do have a PDF like page at the end of every week where I'm supposed to like, write down like the results I produced for that week and like how many new business calls I had and how many people I met networking. And I did it for a little while pretty consistently. And then it kind of fell off, but that's supposed to be like my CEO date with myself, is to track that information. But yeah, if you don't ever spend time looking at that stuff, it could make you feel like you're a failure, or that you're not seeing a lot of growth and movement, or you're not validating like yourself and the success that you're seeing. And it also, yeah, it makes it like really hard to move forward if you're not kind of taking those wins. I do think a lot of people focus more on like the quote unquote failure, which I'm like, don't ever call it failure. I think it's like a lesson learned, right? Like it didn't work or something like that. Like, oh gosh, we were watching something recently where it was talking about like, how man slash woman like discovered fire, or like discovered that they shouldn't touch, fire. But like it probably didn't kill them, but like they didn't fail. They just learned a lesson from it, and taking those moments. Yeah.
That's such a good example. It's such a good thought too. Like, I feel like we are our own worst critics, right? Like, we're so hard on ourselves. And I do it every time. Like, I make some small little mistake and I think, God, that's not what a business owner would do. Like, and that's not true, because we're all human and we all make mistakes. And it's just
trial
so
and
easy.
error.
Yeah.
Trial and error is a part of life. It's kind of what makes us
It
human
is.
in so many ways. Yeah.
Exactly. So I love that, celebrating wins so that you can remember why you're in it, why you're doing it, and you can, hopefully believe in yourself a little bit more, which I love. And I think it also applies to your personal life too. I feel like living in the present moment just in general, regardless of if it's work or with family members and things you want to do in life, it's so hard to remember to do. It's so easy to be stuck in the, okay, but I have this next week and then I have this presentation due, or we're going on this trip, so I need to start packing for this. And again, always on to the next thing. I know this year, one thing I've really been working on is trying to be more present. And I think just celebrating the little wins every day, even just the little ones. Like, my son for the last week has not been sleeping very well. And then today he slept until 7. So, like
Yep.
that's a little win, but he did it. And I, got up and had kind of a peaceful morning with him and drank my coffee without having to, having it go cold. And, uh, I think when we can just kind of look at the things that are going well in life and stay in that moment, I feel like it just kind of helps us overall with our overall outlook.
Yeah, I guess I forgot another win that I want to celebrate. It has been one of our team members who went through the original Take the Leap course, Kelly. She's been with the company for a year. And so she's been full time with us
That's
for a year. And I totally missed posting anything about that. But yeah, it's been super exciting. Like, it's crazy to think that I've had a full time employee with me for a year.
That's
Which
huge.
is just huge.
That's a huge
Yeah.
accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going through, what was I listening to? I was listening to something, and actually it kind of grossed me out a little bit. They were talking about how having like basically contractors instead of employees is like the way to go when you start a business, and just all these things about it, like being cheaper and more effective, and if you need to get rid of them and all of these things. And I was just like, ew, this feels really icky. Like, but I do think that there is a culture of that out there, of like, especially with like client, like folks who do rely on contractors fairly often, and I'm sure you deal with this too, Tori, of like, like you can hire and fire us really easily, but it's like, we're invested in this. Like, we care about your business. We're invested. I would flip the script and say, it's on you, client, to deliver us information, because as a contractor, we're not embedded in your company. So like, if you don't tell me things I don't know, you know what I mean? And you can't make assumptions that we just come in with all this knowledge and these resources for you. So yeah. Yeah. It
Absolutely.
feels, good.
Yeah, that's another really good point. I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, do you have any other wins you'd like to celebrate today?
Not today, but I'm thinking we should make this a regular segment, and we'll put it out there again. Email us your wins. Let us celebrate you. We would love to celebrate you on the podcast, and also in social or wherever you want to send us your info. But we are really hoping that you, fellow entrepreneur, are celebrating with us that good things are happening, and you need to take a moment to celebrate them.
Agreed. Yes, please send us an email, aloha@taketheleap-today.com, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. And wherever we find it, we will make sure to, during these special episodes, read your win on the air. We'll give you a shout out. And if you give us your social media handles, we will also shout you out that way as well.
Awesome.
Well,
until next time, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Everybody have a great rest of your day, wherever you're listening to this.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Take the Leap podcast. We hope you found useful takeaways you can apply to your entrepreneurial journey. Subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and keep in touch and follow us on Instagram. If you have business questions, shoot us a direct message or leave us a comment. We'll try to cover it in an upcoming episode. And visit our website, taketheleap-today.com, for more resources like our online course that accompanies this podcast.